Welcome to today's Government Fleet webinar, The Current State of AI in Public Sector Operations. I'm Martin Ramju, Managing Editor of the Fleet Group, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. We encourage you to ask questions during the webinar at any point, and we will try to address them all. However, if we do not get to yours, you will be contacted by email with a response after the event. The subtitle of this webinar is Smarter, Faster, Safer, the AI Revolution in Physical Operations, which you'll learn more about during the next hour. First, I'd like you to meet our speakers today, who will briefly tell us about their backgrounds. Let's start with you, Dylan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. I'm Dylan Hinton, and I'm a content marketing manager at Samsara, and I have a background in education and market research, and I have a master's of education in instructional technology. At Samsara, I'm actually dedicated to original research and reporting into topics and trends across physical operations. Our team really invests in this research because we know that the world of physical operations is one that is always changing. And so we really work to dig into topics and to find the data that really matters for leaders and can help them transform their operations for the better. So today, I'm really excited to be here and to share insights from our latest report, which is Smarter, Faster, Safer, the AI Revolution in Physical Operations, that is specific to the remarkable use and adoption across the U.S. public sector.
Mel?
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever y'all are at. My name is Mel Morita. I'm with the City of Corpus Christi Solid Waste Services. I'm the general foreman over there. I've been with the department for 17 years already.
All right, well, good to have you both. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of useful information to cover today about AI's powerful impact on the public sector. Our key points are going to include AI adoption levels and top use cases, employee perceptions of AI integrations, AI maturity levels, implementation benefits and barriers, and future AI trends and investment strategies. We all know that AI advancements are driving transformative changes on an unprecedented scale, reshaping industries in ways we've only imagined until now. While applications of AI within the public sector are often overlooked, leaders in industries like manufacturing, construction, utilities, and government are harnessing its incredible power to transform operations. For public sector fleets, adopting new technology is critical to improving safety and risk management, innovating ways to serve communities, and building citizen trust through responsible use of taxpayer resources. We are witnessing a significant surge in AI adoption within the public sector, highlighting a clear need and well-defined use cases. That means we need to cut through the noise about AI and discover how it can propel your operations ahead, delivering you a competitive edge. So in this insightful webinar, Dylan will present fascinating findings from a recent Wakefield research survey that showcases AI's impact on this critical sector. We'll also hear from Mel, who will share real-world success stories and insider strategies for leveraging AI to operate smarter, faster, and safer. So with that said, let's dive in, and we'll start with some key findings from Dylan.
Thanks so much, Martin. So just to provide a little bit more background, today I'm going to be sharing insights from a comprehensive survey that we conducted. And that was of 1,500 physical operations leaders across 21 industries and 7 countries. And it really highlights how AI is already revolutionizing physical operations in a big way. In these industries, it is not some far-flung technology. It is something here and now that is already delivering benefits. So today, I'm really going to dig into some of that data and talk about how AI technologies are driving a very exciting era of transformation. And really, one of the most intriguing findings from this survey was that the US public sector is way ahead of the game when it comes to AI adoption and implementation, and they're already reaping the benefits. In fact, our survey found that AI adoption in the public sector is nearly double that of some other industries, which was very interesting and a little surprising for us as well.
Well, that's a real eye opener, Dylan. What are some of the reasons that the public sector is so far outpacing the private one?
It's a really good question. I think there are a lot of reasons for it. I think within the data that we found that actually 100% of US public sector leaders agree that their organization needs to invest in AI or risk being left behind. So I think we're really tapping into something that these leaders know they need to innovate in order to continue serving their constituents well. And additionally, we found that 95% of them also reported that they plan to increase their investments in AI in the next year, and none of them said they would decrease. So this is not a passing fad. This is an investment that is here for the long term.
All right, and let's start looking at the real world application of this. Mel, please tell us how AI was implemented in your fleet, and are you seeing that your fleet's AI use aligns with these findings where AI usage is widespread through your company?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, well, we implemented, well, actually, we were looking for something, to not only, have a proactive approach as far as, safety and everything, but also a tracking. And we had two different programs at one time. So when we were introduced to Samsara, we were like, all right, this is two birds with one stone. We're able to knock out both, save some money. So that's how we were introduced to it. And then we started, and we've been using it, for the past couple of years already. And so far, we like what we've seen so far.
All right, very good, Mel. Let's now turn to innovative and practical solutions powered by AI. Dylan, what are some of the findings in this area?
Yeah, I think it is so telling what Mel just said, that, when he was looking for a new technology, it was a how many birds can we feed with one scone kind of situation. So we really found that in our findings in the public sector, it's really not only that they're leading the charge of adoption and implementation, but they're also leveraging a lot of capabilities that we don't typically think about outside of those industries. So this isn't like your typical chat GPT or a virtual assistant like Siri or Alexa. The use cases are actually varied and transformative, and they're driving a lot of different efficiencies to new levels in a lot of practical ways.
So how are public sector leaders applying and using AI to get the most out of it?
A great question. So there are, like I said, a variety of use cases that are having a lot of impact, and some of those we even found are higher than the global average. So one of the top 62% of public sector US leaders said that they're using AI right now for assisted decision making. And so that's really using data analytics to support decisions that you're making. That was higher than the global average. We also found these leaders are using it for traffic management. That's systems used to monitor and control the flow of traffic. They're using it for predictive maintenance, so using sensor data to predict when maintenance is needed, customer and community support optimization. So there are the chat bots that we're all so familiar with. And then also safety and security. So that's site surveillance monitoring and analysis, as well as driver assistance, alerts, and dash cams. So there's really no shortage of use cases. I think the sky is a little bit the limit at this point.
So Mel, with all those use cases in mind, we'd love to get kind of a detailed look at how you are leveraging AI's capability in your daily operations. And feel free to share as much as you want.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, we've been using Samsara for a while already. And I mean, we not only use it just for safety as a proactive approach, but we've also used it for, compliance and stuff like that. We like, especially when, like I said, I'm with the solid waste department, and I oversee refuse and recycle collection. So when we have people call in requesting, saying, "Oh, well, you missed my garbage cart today," we're able to go back on Samsara and look over that and make sure, and pull video of, and pinpoint the address of where that customer called in. And we're able to, say, "Oh, well, you know what? The driver passed by there, but your recycle can or your garbage can was not out there." So, I mean, a lot of customers don't know that we have this kind of technology in our hands now, and they think, "Oh, in the past they just We call, hey, we'll get it picked up. I mean, we still provide customer service. Don't get me wrong. But the thing is, we're able to, when we tell the customer, well, we got Samsara cameras in our in our units, and we're able to go back and check what time the driver went by there and what time and everything. We're able to pull video. Then they kind of fall back, and the calls start dropping. They're not calling as much as they used to. So that's one way we're using it there. And it's like, as far as compliance, safety, of course, we're using it as far as, as a proactive approach, with especially with people being on cell phones, or, because there's some other, seat belts, distracted driving, people falling asleep. We've had some cases like that, where somebody's on their cell phone talking, cruising on the freeway, and it's like, wow, and the Samsara is giving them an alert, letting them know, hey, put the phone down, so it's giving them a more proactive approach, yeah.
So Mel, I'll just kind of off the cuff here, I'm going to present another scenario for you, something that I actually experienced earlier this year. I had the garbage picked up at the end of my driveway as usual, and then there was a can missing. So I thought somebody had stolen it and went on to a neighborhood forum and said, my garbage can has been stolen. But somebody then said, well, it probably just accidentally fell into the truck when they were dumping it. So can AI look for accidents and anomalies like that when you're doing the service and then automatically deliver a new can to a customer?
Well, at the moment, like I said, we could see, like, we could go to that address, like, say, your house, and you said that the garbage can was missing. We're able to see, okay, Martin did have 2 cans there. And then you called in saying that you only have 1. So we 9 times out of 10, what happens there is that the driver picks up the can, and sometimes it falls in, and then it gets crushed in there, and it compacts. And there's no point of getting it out and giving you a broken trash can. So what the driver does, he writes it down, and he gives it to the supervisor, and they'll drop you off a brand new one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's always good to hear about so many day-to-day realities. So back to you, Dylan. Can you take us through some of the operational advantages of AI?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love hearing from Mel on this, because the truth is, it sounds like him and his team don't need to read this report. They're living it. It sounds like they very much already know that the 2 sort of highest benefits that we saw in over half of the U.S. public sector leaders that we surveyed were operational efficiency and employee productivity. And so those are 2 great benefits that are having a lot of impact on the day-to-day lives of the folks working in these operations, working behind the scenes, and making their day-to-day job a little bit easier, a little bit safer, and a little bit more efficient. Of course, in addition to that, we had 46% report that they improved their safety, 47% said they improved their data and analytics. And then predictive analysis, reputation, or competitive differentiation was a reported benefit, as well as just scalability. So being able to take something from a small team and implement it organization-wide. All of those are things that leaders said that they're also remarkable to note that none of the leaders we surveyed who currently use AI said they had no benefits. Every single one reported at least 1. So the ROI right now, I think, for AI is very clear for those in the public sector.
So Mel, could you talk about some of the benefits you've experienced with the use of AI at your operation and what you've noticed in terms of any metrics, any anecdotes, any numbers?
As far as that wise, it has benefited us, as far as safety, especially when we've had a couple of accidents recently, and it's actually saved us, from our driver either getting a ticket or or what we have here with the city is we have a point system when they have so many accidents, so that has prevented us, that has helped us from causing those incidents like that, the AI cameras and everything like that. It's benefited us because we're able to download the video. Like there was one instance we had a accident in town, and supposedly the driver backed into a car while he was backing out. Well, what had happened was we were able to pull the video. We were able to see we went to the scene. We showed the officer, hey, officer, we got the video here. We showed him on my phone. Showed him, hey, our camera doesn't show that we hit the vehicle, and ended up giving the other. So we ended up getting away with that. I mean, not getting away, but getting out of the of something happen of getting a ticket and having an incident like that.
So when you're looking at these videos and you're learning what happened, how quickly can you take that information and those insights and work it into improvements that make things more efficient or lead to better safety practices?
I mean, it's actually great because it's actually pretty quick. It's very user friendly. I mean, it's so simple to just pull the video. It takes just a few seconds. Like usually when I get a call saying, "Hey Mel, so and so hit a pole or he hit a mailbox or something." Okay, hold on. They pull that unit up, retrieve the video. What time did it happen at? Where did it happen at? We're able to pull all that stuff, and it takes less than 5 minutes, if that. And like I said, we're able to and like I said, with that approach, we're able to improve. And when we have safety meetings and stuff like that, Samsara has that technology to where we're able to blur the driver's camera. I mean, the driver's face on the camera. We're able to show this is what not to do, or what to do in this instance. So we've used it in those type of practices as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mel's fleet operation is not the only success story here. Dylan, could you give us a sampling of some other productive AI examples in other fleets?
Yeah, I think, like Mel was just alluding to, like there really are so many ways. I think that AI is sneakily behind the scenes doing a lot of work for these organizations. So a few that come to mind for me, the first, just around saving taxpayer dollars, because I know how important that is to U.S. public sector organizations. The city of Allentown actually estimated that they saved over $1 million in taxpayer dollars with our AI dash cams. And that was due to avoided legal fees, claims costs, vehicle replacement and downtime, and saved employee time. Another sort of topic that Mel hit on is, really empowering employees with AI. We found that Gwinnett County Public Schools actually decreased the number of days it takes for them to investigate an incident on one of their school buses from 1 to 2 weeks, all the way down to 24 to 48 hours. And that's thanks to the AI visibility and the ability to quickly pull footage from AI dash cams. That's obviously a massive time savings for their back office team. And so they can resolve these incidents quicker, they can look into them quicker, and then they can dedicate that time to other important tasks. And then finally, one that I think is really interesting and hits near and dear for me is that the city of Syracuse Department of Public Works actually reduced their citizen calls about snowplow service by 30% by combining AI dash cams and real-time GPS data. I live in Minnesota. I know how annoying it is to not only have a blizzard happen overnight, but then to wonder, okay, when is the plow going to come by and when can I get to the grocery store? So I love this use case, and I love that they were able to really address those citizen concerns. They actually created a publicly accessible coverage map, and that's populated in real time with Samsara GPS data and another third-party integration, so citizens can kind of self-serve and check in on the progress of the snowplows, and they don't need to call in. Those are just 3 that come to mind for me, and there's a lot more to all those stories. So if you're listening and you want to read the full stories, just go ahead and drop a little note in the Q&A section, and I'll make sure to follow up with you afterwards with a link to the full story.
Okay. All right. So we've heard about plenty of examples, some trends, data, benefits, but of course, none of this will work unless you get employee buy-in. So Dylan, what are the findings on employees and how they are embracing AI?
A great question, and one that frankly surprised me in a really pleasant way. We found that public sector employees are very supportive of AI adoption. 100% of the leaders that we surveyed said said their employees feel positive about the technology. And of course, getting that kind of buy-in from employees is so important for a number of reasons. First, boosting morale. I think, as we've kind of discussed, a reason for this positive sentiment among employees could suggest that, the ROI from AI is already benefiting these employees, and they're seeing it really clearly in their day-to-day. It's like Mel said, when you get exonerated because of dash cam footage, that is a huge deal in driving buy-in. Another benefit that comes from this buy-in is really that future-ready workforce that I know a lot of public sector organizations have their eye on. When you get employees' positive outlook, it really lends itself to a readiness to embrace any future technological advancements. And it fosters more of that forward-thinking culture and a truly adaptive work environment. It also can really enhance collaboration. These positive responses, I think, are a great signal that workers are embracing technology that helps them become more innovative and efficient in their public services. And then, of course, it's so important to think about and to implement good training and development. So you've got this optimism towards AI. I think when that is emerging, it's a sign that the training and the development that goes into implementing AI is working. And so I think that's something organizations should make sure that they don't overlook, because it's not just about adopting a technology, it's about how do you integrate that technology into the daily lives of your employees in a way that they're really buying into.
So Mel, I remember when dash cams first came out, fleet managers were really concerned that some of their drivers just did not like being on camera. But as you have seen the actual rollout of AI technology, which is kind of a step beyond that, how are drivers and employees at your fleet operation buying into this? How are you winning them over to the advantages of it?
Well, excuse me. Yeah, Dylan was saying all this positive stuff about, the 100% buy-in and stuff like that, which is great. But when we first rolled this out, it was, I had a lot of bad feedback from drivers saying, "Oh, you're watching me. You're invading my privacy. You're just watching me all day, seeing what I'm doing, trying to find something wrong I'm doing." Thing is, we have to sit down, because we have a lot of old school guys. So we have to sit down and encourage them. Encourage them, let them know, hey, this is the future. This is technology. This is what we're doing. We're doing it to help you. We're doing it to save you. We're doing it to, just in case you have an accident or something happens, we're able to cover our bases. We're not there just to, just look at you and be like a, big brother there. It's not a big brother. I had a couple people tell me that. They're like, yeah, you just got a big brother watching me all day. I said, no, we're not. That's not what it's there for. It's there to protect you. It's there for, and after a while, we've had more, employees start buying in, and they're like, okay, you know what, I get it now, or hey, Mel, this camera saved me from getting a point to my record, to my driving record. So, I appreciate it more now than when it first rolled out, because, like I said, they were kind of skeptical at first, but now it seems like more employees are starting to buy in, and which is great. And, and I think it's going to be, like I said, this is the future, and this is what we know, what we need to look forward to. And, and it's like I said, it's there to help us. It's not there, it's not there to, be against us or anything. So
when you're dealing with skeptical drivers or employees, does it make sense to always make it a practice that if you saw or if you see how AI helped them in a certain situation or spared them something or they avoided something, do you point that out to them to kind of calm them down about it?
Yeah, and like I said, we've shown videos and we've shown, like to let them know, hey, this happened to this one driver, no names there, but, it just happened to this one driver, and this is what we did to get him. That nothing happened to them. So, because of the AI technology, they weren't penalized or they weren't given a point or anything. So showing them instead of just telling them, hey, this is what it does, actually having to, put it on the big screen, connect my laptop, put it on the big screen and show them, hey, this is what we're doing. And this is, and this is how we're, protecting you. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, as Mel was pointing out, AI, of course, is something new, and it can have its challenges. And so I'd like to switch over to the public sector's approach and how they are handling barriers, challenges, and concerns while making the most of the advantages. So Dylan, what are you finding in that area?
Yeah, great question. And Mel, I love that story about all the fears, all the worries, and then just really the proof being in the pudding. We hear that over and over from our customers. And actually, I was talking to a family member of mine the other day who runs a business where he outfits police cars and fire trucks and ambulances. And he sometimes installs dash cams. And I asked him, how is the reception with that? He said exactly what Mel said. He said everyone is a little worried at first. And he's like, all it takes is that first time where dash cam footage saves somebody from a wrongful lawsuit, and everybody is excited about it. So I do think that is such an important element to highlight, that buy-in doesn't just come magically with the technology. It's something that good leaders like Mel are really investing in and are taking the time to build into that process. And so while, of course, that buy-in is a challenge, we actually found that most public sector leaders named data quality and availability and privacy and security concerns as their top barriers for implementing AI. So I do think there are always going to be new concerns when it comes to implementing new technology. It's always going to be complex, but public sector leaders, according to our findings, are really on top of it. We found that most of the public sector leaders we surveyed are already working to overcome these barriers. And we can really see this too in some of their other priorities. So we found that 59% said that they prioritize technology vendors with access to large-scale data sets to train AI models. And then even more impressing, I think we found that they are already taking some pretty significant actions to ensure that AI is being deployed responsibly. So the majority of the folks that we surveyed said they're already taking privacy and data protection measures. They're already establishing AI ethics and principles, already focused on these kind of transparency and explainability initiatives. And then, of course, employee AI training. So this really indicates that these organizations are taking a very measured and thoughtful approach to AI implementation, and they're focusing on addressing, I think, the legal and ethical risk before tackling logistics and rollout. And I think it's also worth noting that the least cited barrier for implementing AI for public sector leaders was actually the time it takes and lack of organizational experience. And I think that's probably just because these organizations have already cleared those hurdles, as we see in our data, and they've got a pretty good blueprint, I think, for smooth implementation.
Before we get to Mel, Dylan, I'm just curious, what's just a real quick example of an AI ethical standard or principle as applied to fleet operations?
So those are really going to vary from country to country and from different pieces of technology. So I don't think there's an easy answer there. But if you go to Samsara, we've got a great sort of microsite that I can send out that focuses on sort of the legal and the ethical considerations that we take here at our company.
Okay. So Mel, I understand, given all that, you had a quick rollout and a ramp up across your organization with the AI technology. Tell us just walk us through how that went down, because I know there's a concern among fleet managers on just the logistics of implementing the technology and getting it up and working in a good amount of time. How did that unfold for you?
Definitely. Like I said, we had a trial run with a few of our units in the beginning, and to test it out, see how how it would work out. And then actually we liked it so much we started putting it in all our garbage units, garbage and recycle collection units. What I did like about it, what I was worried about at first, I was worried, oh man, how are we gonna get the installation? We gotta bring somebody to wire in all this stuff because in a garbage truck they're Peterbilt or Mack chassis, and the wiring's a lot different because there's so much stuff going on inside the garbage truck. So I was kind of worried about that at first, but when they came out and they went over everything was so simple, plug and play. It's just running some wire along the front windshield, pretty much sticking the camera onto the windshield, and then everything you could activate. You could even activate the camera from your phone, from the app. You're just able to scan the QR code, put in the unit number, put in the license plate number, put in the starting mileage or hours, and then you're ready to go. And boom, it comes out it'll come out on your desktop. So At the beginning, like I said, I was worried about that, the installation, but I was able to learn. I helped install some units. I was able to train my guys to install in units into our units. And then it's just slowly we've been training everybody. So pretty much all my supervisor staff that I have here, they're able to install the dash cam and activate it and everything. And if they need assistance, I'm always there to help them. We rolled it out, like I said, we rolled it out here in collections. We rolled it out at our other solid waste divisions, like the landfill and the sludge collection. So we've rolled it out in different sections already. And I think our risk management team and everything, they like what they're seeing with this system. So they're looking into more departments to venture off to. I think our public works division is looking into it, or I think I want to say the gas department, utilities, one of them is buying into it also. So before you know it, hopefully we'll be citywide with Samsara, which would be great.
Mm-hmm. In terms of training and getting the employees and drivers oriented, what's the best way to structure that? Do you have some quick classroom sessions? Do you actually bring them out to the vehicle and do a hands-on demonstration? What's the best way for a fleet to go about this?
It's a little bit of both. Like I said, you meet with the supervisory staff and you let them know how to install it, and you get with them, and then they'll pass it on to their to the drivers and everything. Usually what we'll do is we'll have a classroom setting where we'll put it on the big screen. We'll go over, what to look for, and as far as installation, this is what you want to run. This is what the kind of tools you need. Like I said, it's not many tools. So, which is a great thing. And it's just, like I said, I'm not having to ask GM over here to splice some wires or anything. It's pretty much just plug and play, so, that's a huge benefit, especially with the installation of the cameras. And like I said, we're training our staff, and then they're training. We're able to train other staff, from different divisions. So if anybody has a question, they usually come to me and say, "Hey, Mel, my team over here, Public Works, we're looking to get some cameras installed. Hey, can you run out one day, to our division and come talk to us and let us know, hey, Mel, how to install these cameras and everything." So that's what I've been doing. And like I said, I really like this program.
Okay. Very good. So let's spend some time here on the future ahead, because AI is definitely constantly evolving very quickly. And contrary to all the media scare stories you hear out there about AI, I understand the public sector is actually applying this toward better outcomes and lasting improvements. So what are you seeing in that area, Dylan, and what does the future hold?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's just going to grow. So in the next 5 years, we found that these leaders want AI to deliver even more efficiency and safety benefits. And the top areas they're looking for are around supply chain resource management, driver behavior safety analytics, and physical security and theft prevention. We also found that 89% of public sector leaders say they feel somewhat or completely prepared to navigate upcoming AI regulatory frameworks. And that's actually higher than the global average. And that actually might reflect the fact that of the leaders who use AI or plan to use AI in the next 2 years, 100% said their organization is already taking action to ensure responsible deployment of AI. And so when you compare that to that stat I shared earlier about what these leaders are prioritizing in their vendors, we're really finding that even though they know, of course, this is new technology, nobody really knows what regulation and frameworks are going to look like in the future, they are generally feeling pretty confident because they're investing already in that element of this technology. And so we really did find that most of these leaders are going to plan to work with an external vendor for AI solutions over developing them in-house. And I think this underscores the growing importance of AI expertise. And it also, I think, reveals that these leaders expect increased ROI from their investments. And so they're really going to be looking for reliable, knowledgeable, and responsible partners to ensure the success of any of these new AI initiatives.
Just offhand, Dylan, what are some, I guess, anecdotal examples of ROI I mean, I know that's a very broad term, but without tying it to any specific numbers, what gives a fleet operation the best sense that they're getting good ROI?
I think it really depends on goals. So if you're looking at safety, for example, some organizations might look at something like a safety score. So a score from 0 to 100, and they might start with a system like Samsara, and they find their average fleet safety score is maybe in the 80s, and they'll aim for the 90s. And so tracking progress towards that goal can be very meaningful. For others, it might be like a reduction in harsh events. So everything from like a fast brake or a turn or anything like that, a rolling stop, they might, use AI-powered analytics to find that, okay, we have a lot of drivers who are rolling through stop signs. Can we reduce that by X% in the next year? And then alternately, outside of safety, it could be anything like fuel idling. It could be tracking those metrics and trying to lower that across your fleet. Or in preventive maintenance, it might be, okay, we really need these vehicles to be up and running. We cannot be waiting until they fail to get them in. If we can have AI help us to determine when to send these vehicles in, that will give us, better vehicle longevity, more uptime. So it really does depend, but I think those use cases are some of the most common that I see, and I think they're honestly always expanding.
Mm-hmm. So Mel, I'd like to get your perspective. I know it's a very broad question, but you can take whatever time you like. What is it about the AI that really makes you say, "Wow, this is helping the operation"? And then, what do you think the future holds with AI? What would you like to see it doing beyond what it's doing now?
I mean, like I said, I've been impressed with what I've seen so far, with AI technology and how it's helped us in the safety aspect, a proactive approach on safety. Also help on Dylan was saying, preventative maintenance. I kind of forgot to mention that a little earlier about preventative maintenance. We do use this program also to, help us out as far as, trucks going into the shop. The thing is, in our division, we can't have no downtime because the trash has to get collected. Trash recycle has to get collected. So, I mean, we do, like I said, we use that a lot, for our maintenance, in our maintenance aspect. And, it's like so far, I mean, it's helped us out a lot. And as far as the future, I mean, I think the sky's the limit. I mean, it's only gonna get, it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get more improvement. I feel like it's just rolling out now, and we're just getting started. Pretty soon it's going to get to the point where it's going to be the way of life, I guess. AI technology, the future.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know we've had a really good discussion here, and certainly appreciate all that you've shared. We do have some time remaining, and we encourage the audience. You can submit questions at any time, and Dylan and Mel will get to them. But while we're waiting for the audience, I know there's always more with this topic. How does AI enhance the effectiveness of traditional technology tools like dash cams and telematics solutions? Dylan, why don't you take a stab at that one?
Yeah, happy to. And then I'd love to hear from Mel. What we're hearing from our customers, I think, is that creating a more proactive approach is more than just sort of an added benefit at this point. It's really a strategic necessity for public sector organizations. And I think AI is really helping kind of flip the script from reactive to proactive. So, kind of like I was talking about earlier in terms of driver safety, when managers are able to correct risky behaviors after the fact, that's really a more reactive approach, and is often too late. You end up with serious injuries, litigations, and other, frankly, avoidable consequences when everything is said and done. And so that's why this more proactive or preventative approach is so important. And so with AI dash cams, that's technology that really helps safety teams get better and more, I think, contextualized information. And that can be used then for driver coaching, exoneration, like Mel mentioned, overall safety program strategy and more. And so I think, AI is really helping folks spot trends quickly and then respond to high-risk drivers with appropriate coaching that's actually based in evidence and not in guesswork. And then looking at other technology like telematics, AI, I think, can really help identify vehicles and assets that need maintenance. That, of course, reduces downtime, extends vehicle life and health. And then it can also even organize and uncover, I think, strategic insights from large data sets. So that could be everything from, utilization data to fuel efficiency. And it can facilitate, frankly, just like a faster time to strategic decision making. And that is going to have the ROI that we talked about, including, we're saving dollars, we're selling underutilized assets or reallocating them when they're needed, creating more fuel efficient routes that save time. I really think, any leader that wants to sort of stop feeling like they're treading water and start actually swimming towards a finish line, really should look into how AI can help their organization.
Now, in terms of rolling out an AI solution company-wide, Dylan, what's a typical timetable for that? And what are kind of the steps that happen within that?
Really going to depend on the organization, frankly, the size of your operation, what exactly you're rolling out. But I will say something we touched on earlier, I think maybe is even more important, because without even knowing specifics of an organization, I think we have really seen that the most time that this project actually takes to roll out is in the change management phase rather than the actual equipment installation. So when you're dealing with, an enterprise grade solution like Samsara's, the install and the maintenance, we usually find is the least of our customers' worry. We actually really recommend focusing on communicating with your employees and educating them on the technology before you get to the rollout. You want to share things with them like the purpose for the change, those benefits of the technology. And that is really, I think, where you should focus your time and your energy, because that's what's going to make all the difference. We have a number of resources on handling this kind of change management. So again, if you are interested in that, I'm happy to pass that along. Just, send a little message in the chat and I can follow up with you afterwards, because it is a broad and complex topic, but it's absolutely one worth diving into.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we got into this particular angle, but can you give us a sense of the average fleet size range that is adopting the AI technology, and if it's something that's applicable to fleets of all sizes? Because that's a question we get. Does there have to be a minimum number of vehicles to benefit from AI? So what have you seen so far in terms of the fleet uptake on this?
It's a great question. And unfortunately, another sort of it totally depends kind of answer. But I will say we do work with fleets of pretty much all sizes. I think the thing about things like AI dash cams and telematics is, yes, the benefits are scalable, but they still exist in the smaller sizes as well. I think if you're at a place where you're thinking my fleet would benefit from increased safety, increased efficiency, then you're at the right size to consider AI. I don't think it is technology that works only for larger organizations, for example. I do think there is an element that can work for everybody. But again, it really, I think if folks have questions about their specific sort of size or application of this technology, I would say reach out to us at samsara.com and we can get you in touch with someone who can actually help you filter through your unique situation.
Mm-hmm. Mel, what's the size of your fleet?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the size of my fleet, in my division, it's about I want to say it's about 48 to 50 vehicles in my division alone. Altogether, I think total it's around 100 or something, more or less. And like Dylan was saying about, large fleets, small fleets, like I said, with Samsara, you're able to especially in our divisions, we have different divisions, like we have refuse and recycle collection, which I oversee. And then we have our landfill and everything like that. So when we install these cameras with using Samsara, we're able to change the tags on each unit. So we're able to be like, okay, well, I just want to look at my units, or I want to go look at Elliot's unit. I mean the landfill's units. So we're able to determine that also. Even if you have like 1,000 vehicles, I mean, you're still able to break it down and separate everything if you need to, based on crew and whatever.
So just to recap, it's just as applicable to a 5 to 10 vehicle fleet as hundreds of vehicles. Is that the bottom line?
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah. So when you rolled it out, I know you went into some detail about how it happened. What was from beginning to end? Was it weeks? Was it months? How long was that process for you?
Taking me back now. It was, I mean, I think it was a few months, like I said, as far as the rollout and everything, and waiting to get the equipment, the installation time, educating our supervisors, letting them know, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, meeting with the employees, talking to them also, let them know this is why we're installing the cameras, stuff like that, and the dash cams. So, like I said, it takes a few months. It's not just, hey, you know what, tomorrow we're doing it. It takes, it does take time to educate everybody and get everybody involved and get everybody to buy in. So.
Mm-hmm. So Dylan, getting back to the survey, did it reveal any interesting differences among various segments within the public sector, such as government organizations versus public works versus education versus so many other forms of public service fleets?
We did see a few differences. So I think the ones worth highlighting are that we did see that U.S. public sector respondents generally reported higher use and adoption of AI than the non-U.S. public sector respondents. But I do think it's important to note that all the countries that we survey globally all have very ambitious investment plans for the future. So I think whatever gap does exist there in current use is likely to close very, very quickly. I think everyone is sort of seeing the ROI from AI and is planning to adopt. The only other thing we really saw is that transportation leaders, and that's public or private, all had very high AI adoption rates. And this is, not something that showed up in the data, but something that we've sort of noticed and speculated on is that it could be reflective of that sort of unique space where transportation sits, where they're so close to the public. And so they really do have to constantly innovate and stay on top of new technologies, to keep riders safe and to really better serve their constituents and their communities.
So now looking beyond AI, are there any other technology solutions or trends on the horizon that we should keep an eye out for, that we can look forward to?
It's a good question. I think for me, this is a trend that I would say isn't new, but I do think it's going to become even more pronounced for the U.S. public sector. And I think that's just the general focus on the citizen experience. So it's less about the specific technology because, of course, we look forward and we can only say so much about what will develop and what will grow. But I do think we can say with confidence, these agencies are going to be really doubling down on figuring out how to provide the goods and the services that they need to align with citizen expectations that, frankly, are always evolving and always changing. And I think the question is going to be what tools and what technologies can we use to have a truly kind of smart operation that can, respond to data insights and really harness technology to become an adaptable and, like we've been saying, really a proactive organization.
Mm-hmm. So Mel, in wrapping everything up, based on everything you've observed and experienced with AI, what's your advice for fleet managers who don't have this yet, or for public sector leaders who are on the fence, who are looking at it? What would you say to them based on what you learned or what mistakes you made, and also what you've observed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, based on all that, I mean, like I said, I mean, we've learned a lot, using this program, and we've been able to, you know, uh, we've been able to, you know, look after, our team and everything like that. So it's like I said, at first it's going to be might be a little rough, like I said, getting people to buy in, but I mean, it's worth it though. I mean, it's gonna save you in the long run. It's gonna save you money in the long run. It's gonna save you, tax dollars, like Dylan was saying. It's gonna improve safety. It's gonna just keep just improving your division, your operations. Everything will be a lot smoother.
So Dylan, one other point that I'd like to touch upon here is how can AI help when it comes to actually planning duty cycles and routing and deployment of vehicles? How does that better inform the fleet operation?
Yeah, I think that really, I mean, all those are going to be very different, frankly, and depending on size and use case are going to be a little different, but all of them really tap into this capability of AI to analyze large data sets and organize them into strategic insights. And so instead of really relying on, like, some of our customers will be manually tracking certain pieces of data, and while that is effective, it is not efficient. And so by the time they might get to the point where they're noticing, we might have more idling than we want, things have already changed. And so I think it's a faster time to insights that AI is enabling. And then it's also in that enabling leaders to be more strategic when they're making decisions, from routing to efficiency to really anything else that previously you would need to manually track. It's digitization and really analysis.
Mm-hmm. So how does AI intersect with autonomous vehicles, or at least partially autonomous ones? And we hear a lot about the Teslas. Just in terms of anything you've learned or any research, what's the outlook there for AI informing the actual control of the vehicle?
I would not be a good person to speak to that. We did not do any research into autonomous vehicles in this report. But I do think that it is really interesting to look into the AI use cases in dash cams, just because those obviously are not driving any vehicles, but I think they are enabling the folks that are driving the vehicles to be smarter and to be safer. So with things like in-cab alerts, for example, those are audio alerts that go out when a driver has a specific risky event. So let's say they roll through a stop sign, they might get an audio alert in their cab that says that was a rolling stop. And so I think AI is really helpful in empowering those drivers before having a conversation with a coach, before having that event sort of escalate, to self-correct. So that's really where I think our research was focused on, and the insights that I find so interesting. It's less about, a machine driving a car and more about how do we make the human beings operating these vehicles safer and smarter.
Okay, so I didn't mean to ask a scary question there, but handled it really well. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. If any of you would like to learn more about today's webinar topic, you can go to samsara.com. And to gain access to the full report, Samsara's latest State of Connected Operations report, Smarter, Faster, Safer, the AI Revolution in Physical Operations, you can use the QR code that you now see on the current slide. So just to wrap up, in conclusion, some key points to remember. For public organizations, adopting new technology is critical to improving safety and risk management, innovating ways to serve communities, and building citizen trust through responsible use of taxpayer resources. At the end of the day, it's all about improving the safety, efficiency, and sustainability of the operations that power our daily lives. And AI is a very powerful tool that is driving real transformative improvements across many areas, as you've heard today. Samsara strives every day to make work better, safer, and easier for organizations managing complex physical operations and the people that power them. So there's plenty of thought leadership and education there to help you as you pursue this. So for anyone who still has a question or would like to ask it, you're welcome to send it to any of us, and we will follow it up for you via email and answer every question we can. We certainly hope that you have enjoyed today's webinar. I want to again thank our presenters, Dylan Hinton and Mel Morida, and of course, Samsara. I also want to mention that this webinar will be available on demand on the Government Fleet website at governmentfleet.com/webinars. On behalf of the entire Bobbitt and Government Fleet team, I'm Martin Ramju. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you here again soon on another Government Fleet webinar. Have a good rest of the day.